Henceforth and forthwith, let it be known by all men that rhyme and reason reign once more in wisdom. The two princesses bowed gratefully and warmly kissed their brothers, and they all agreed that a very fine thing had happened. And, furthermore, continued the proclamation, the boy named Milo, the dog known as Talk, and the insect hereinafter referred to as the humbug, are hereby declared to be heroes of the realm. Cheer after cheer filled the air, and even the bug seemed a bit embarrassed at having so much attention paid to him. Therefore, concluded the Duke, in honor of their glorious deed, a royal holiday is declared. Let there be parades through every city in the land, and a gala carnival of 3 days' duration, consisting of jousts, games, feasts, and follies. The 5 cabinet members then wrote up the large parchment, and with many bows and flourishes retired. Swift horsemen carried the news to every corner of the kingdom, and as the parade slowly wound its way through the countryside, crowds of people gathered to cheer it along. Garlands of flowers hung from every house and shop and carpeted the streets. Even the air shimmered with excitement, and shutters, closed for many years, were thrown open to let the brilliant sunlight shine where it hadn't shone in so long. Milo, Talk, and the very subdued humbug sat proudly in the royal carriage with Athens, the magician, and the 2 princesses, and the parade stretched for miles in both directions. As the cheering continued, Rhyme leaned forward and touched Milo gently on the arm. "They're shouting for you," she said with a smile. "But I could never have done it," he objected, "without everyone else's help." "That may be true," said Reason gravely, but you had the courage to try, and what you can do is often simply a matter of what you will do. "That's why," said Atlas, "there was one very important thing about your quest that we couldn't discuss until you returned." "I remember," said Milo eagerly. "Tell me now." "It was impossible," said the king, looking at the mathematician. "Completely impossible," said the mathematician, looking at the king. "Do you mean," stammered the bug, who suddenly felt a bit faint. "Yes, indeed," they repeated together. "But if we'd told you then, you might not have gone. And as you've discovered, so many things are possible just as long as you don't know they're impossible." And for the remainder of the ride, Milo didn't utter a sound. Finally, when they'd reached a broad, flat plain midway between Dixonopolis and Digitopolis, somewhat to the right of the Valley of Sound, and a little to the left of the Forest of Sight, the long line of carriages and horsemen stopped, and the great carnival began. Gaily striped tents and pavilions sprang up everywhere as the workmen scurried about like ants. Within minutes there were race courses and grandstands, sight shows and refreshment booths, gaming fields Ferris wheels, banners, bunting, and bedlam almost without pause. The mathematician provided a continuous display of brilliant fireworks made up of exploding numbers, which multiplied and divided with breathtaking results, the colors, of course, being supplied by chroma, and the noise by a deliriously happy Dr. Discord. Thanks to the soundkeeper, there was music and laughter, and for very brief moments, even a little silence. Alec-Beans set up an enormous telescope and invited everyone to see the other side of the moon, and the humbug wandered through the crowd accepting congratulations and recounting in great detail of his brave exploits, most of which gained immeasurably in the telling. And each evening, just at sunset, a royal banquet was held. There was everything imaginable to eat. King Atzes had ordered a special supply of delicious words in all flavors, and for those who liked exotic foods in all languages too. The mathematician had provided innumerable platters of division dumplings, which Milo was very careful to avoid, for no matter how many you ate, when you finished there was more on your plate than when you began. And of course, following the meal came songs, epic poems, and speeches in praise of the princesses and the 3 gallant adventurers who had rescued them. King Atzes and the mathematician pledged that every year at the same time they would lead their armies to the mountains of ignorance until not one demon remained, and everyone agreed that no finer carnival for no finer reason had ever been held in wisdom. But even things as fine as all that must end sometime, and late on the afternoon of the 3rd day the tents were struck, the pavilions were folded, and everything was packed ready to leave. "It's time to go now," said the reason, "for there is too much to do." And as she spoke, Milo suddenly remembered his home. He wanted very much to go back, yet somehow he couldn't bear the thought of leaving. "And so you must say goodbye," said Brime, patting him gently on the cheek. "To everyone?" said Milo unhappily. He looked around slowly at all the friends he'd made, and he looked very hard so as not to forget any of them for even an instant. But mostly he looked at Talkin the Humbug, with whom he had shared so much, the perils, the dangers, the fears, and best of all, the victory. Never had anyone had 2 more steadfast companions. "Can't you both come with me?" he asked, knowing the answer as he said it. "I'm afraid not,"